Amid years of political pressure and international sanctions, Iran has managed to sustain an industry that often escapes global attention, its automotive sector. While many countries rely heavily on global supply chains and international partnerships, Iran has faced a very different reality: limited access, isolation, and the necessity to stand on its own. Yet from these constraints, an industry has not only survived, but steadily evolved. This journey began in 1962, when Iran established Iran Khodro as the foundation of its national automotive industry. At a time when global car manufacturing was dominated by Western nations and many developing countries had yet to build their own capabilities, Iran took its first steps. Starting with simple assembly processes, it gradually learned how vehicles were designed, engineered, and produced as complete systems. Over time, Iran entered partnerships with several European automakers, particularly from France. Through these collaborations, it gained access to proven vehicle platforms and, more importantly, exposure to modern manufacturing systems. This phase was not only about producing cars, it was about absorbing knowledge that would later prove essential. That trajectory changed when international sanctions began to restrict those relationships. Access to new technologies became increasingly limited, imports of key components were disrupted, and many global partners withdrew. Iran's automotive industry faced a critical moment, one that would determine whether it could endure without external support. In response, Iran began to rebuild from within. Existing vehicle platforms were retained, but gradually modified to suit local needs. Components that were once imported started to be produced domestically. The process was neither quick nor easy, but it was consistent. Over time, a more self-reliant automotive ecosystem began to take shape. The result is a distinct type of vehicle, shaped by necessity rather than trend. These cars are not designed to showcase cutting-edge technology or luxury, but to fulfill fundamental needs: reliability, ease of maintenance, and long-term usability. To some, this approach may appear modest, but within its context, it represents a practical and resilient solution. Several factors have reinforced this system. Domestic production of components has reduced dependence on unstable imports. Relatively low energy costs have helped keep manufacturing expenses down. At the same time, a protected domestic market has ensured steady demand for local products. Together, these conditions have made it possible to offer vehicles at relatively accessible prices. However, this approach also comes with limitations. Material quality remains relatively basic, and production precision does not always meet global standards. Technological innovation also progresses at a slower pace compared to major global manufacturers, with broader access to research and development. These challenges continue to shape the industry's path forward. Despite these constraints, progress continues. Newer models are being introduced with more contemporary designs, and early steps toward electrification are beginning to emerge. While the pace may not match that of leading automotive nations, these efforts reflect an industry that is still adapting, still moving forward, while staying true to its origins. In the end, Iran's automotive industry is not merely a story about cars. It is a story about resilience, about how a system endures under prolonged pressure. It reflects adaptation, limitation, and the determination to keep moving forward when options become increasingly scarce. A reminder that in certain circumstances, innovation does not always emerge from freedom, but from constraint. So the question remains, is this kind of self-reliance a strength or a limitation that must be accepted?